Hit her up when she comes. Okay, well, thank you all again for your time this afternoon. So we'll go ahead and start the agenda. So I have noted who is on the call for the purpose of recording the minutes. So the first order of action is to approve minutes from our September 29th meeting. It's hard to believe it's been that long. I apologize for just circulating those to you guys, but did anybody have any corrections or questions? Okay, if not, for the committee members, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Dr. T, are you okay with seconding the motion? If you're talking, you're on mute.
Yes, I seconded it.
Thank you. So I
Thank
agree
you.
as well. The minutes are approved. So the next item on the agenda is we have with us Renita and Alicia from Reuben Brown. And I just wanted to have them to kind of update us. I'm sorry, I'm getting a message from Amy here again that she's waiting for someone to let her in. And I am not sure that I can do that because I didn't organize the meeting.
Mr. Moss, are you on? Can you help that?
Yes, sir. I'm letting her in now.
Great.
Thank you. Hello, Amy. We were just getting started. We have approved the minutes, and so we were getting ready to start the update from Reuben Brown. So we have with us today Renita and Alicia, who have spoken with us before. So we will just ask them to kind of give us a status on where we are with the annual audit.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Marion, and thank you all for calling the meeting and have us join you today. I thought that I would do three things. One is talk about obviously where the audit stands and what we're working on as of today. And then I would kind of give you a little bit of background, and you're welcome to ask questions, follow up, but a little bit of background about, how this is different from prior years, kind of how we got here. And then I'll leave you guys with a couple of action items. So what are we doing in the next couple of days? But if ever you have questions or something's not clear, just interrupt, okay? So right now we are working towards a March 31st completion date so that the district can file its single audit on time. So, as you know, there are several reports that we issue. One is independent opinion on the financial statements itself, which is normally due because of debt and continuing disclosures by December 31st. It's due to be posted to Emma, and it's also due to DESE. But in addition to that, we also issue an examination report on attendance and transportation that's normally due to DESE by December 31st. And then also we do a single audit in accordance with OMB, and that's for the federal government. And that deadline is a little more lenient. It's 9 months from your year end. So normally it's due March 31st. So if you think about last year's fiscal year, so fiscal year 22's audit, the financial statements and the examination were issued by December 31st, as it has been in the past. But there was a late program that was determined to be major related to COVID funding. Help me out with who it's from, Alicia. The ECF. I can't remember the federal agency, but we found that program late. So we ended up auditing that program in January and February, and we issued the single audit by March 31st. So just a little bit of background on the different deadlines. So we are right now are shooting to issue all the reports by March 31st so that we don't have a late submission to the federal government. The district doesn't have a late submission. We expect to issue final or draft reports by early next week, so March 12th. They're currently with me. Alicia and I are working on them currently so that we can get them drafted and over to the district. And that period in between March 12th and March 31st, there are a number of other schedules that the district has to provide us that go into that final document. So the management discussion and analysis, some statistical reports, Corrective action plans will be required for the findings that we have to issue. All of those things will need to take place during that time period. And we expect that we'll need all of those additional things by around March 22nd to give us time to actually print the final documents and get the reports issued. We will have a management letter that we'll issue as well. That'll be the final item, and that'll relate to internal control deficiencies. So that's where we stand as far as when are we expecting to be done? What's the date we're shooting for? What are we working on today? When you think about how is this different from prior years, so the district, to my knowledge, and Angie can interject, has always met the 12/31 deadline. So, you know, the single audit is a little bit different because that deadline's a little bit later, but normally the audit timeline is we're out there in middle of September. We leave the field at the end of October. We issue drafts by Thanksgiving, and then we're done before the end of the year and everybody can enjoy their new year. Some things were different this year. Primary cause, in my opinion, is turnover and some retirements of key individuals in the finance office and in accounting, right? So this year we pulled out of the field the first week of October. We met with district management. We met with Angie and her team, and there just wasn't the amount of work that was ready for us in order to keep our team busy. So we have a team of 4 to 6 individuals working on St. Louis Public Schools during that September-October timeframe. So what we said was, you know, we need to pull out of the field, give you guys some time to get ready. We realized that you've lost, and I have them listed here, but there were 4 individuals with decades and decades of institutional knowledge. And not only did they have decades of institutional knowledge, but they had roles that were key to treasury, so investments, debt issuances. They were key to the fixed asset, the capital asset record keeping that takes place. And all of these things are really, they're voluminous and they're material, they're significant. And there's a lot of disclosures and adjustments that go into them as it relates to the audit process. So the departure of those key individuals kind of got us to this spot where we weren't in a place at the end of October where we normally would be. So after October 31st, we said, okay, well, you know, what we're going to do is we're going to meet weekly. So we met weekly, our team with Angie's team, and we kind of discussed on a weekly basis, what have you provided from Brown? What can we work through just to kind of keep us moving towards that goal? We also advised the district to contact DESE, also contact Emma, and let them know what was going on and ask for extensions essentially. And then we also received a new trial balance on January 10th. So what all that means is that it just created inefficiencies in the audit process, and that's kind of how we've got to the place where we're still auditing essentially, and we're trying to get it wrapped up. The good news is that in my mind, a March 31st deadline is in sight, and we're doing everything we can to make it happen as well. We have some things related to adjustments for accounts receivable and write-offs, potential write-offs of accounts receivables that Angie and her team are working on right now. What we are working on right now is the drafts at the same time. So simultaneously, those things are going on. We also have a concurring review that happens on our end, a quality control review. We've got all of that lined up so that that can happen and meet this March 31st deadline.
Okay, thank you, Renita. When do you anticipate presenting the audit to the school board?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the meeting schedule.
Well, the March work session is on March 26th.
Okay. I'm sorry, Angie, did you say the 26th?
Yes, March 26th.
So we've essentially had every Tuesday on our radar, just, you know, just in case we were ready to go by then. So March 26th, that would work for us.
Okay, great. And then with respect to the single audit submissions, that would occur after the board meeting. Is that correct?
Yes. Without knowing exactly what the board ordinance is. I mean, the board really doesn't approve our audit, right? So we're an independent opinion. But typically what happens is we would hold, yes, the dating of the report, we would hold the actual submission, and we would do that on the 27th, 28th, 29th, which is
Okay.
enough.
The submittals to Emma relating to the continuing disclosure requirements, I'm assuming that those notices were just that the audit would be delayed. Was there a preliminary date given with that notice by which the audit would be completed?
I know that Gilmar Bell sent something on our behalf, and I recently received something from that organization, and they are looking for a submission by March 29th.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, the
Great.
30th is on a Sunday, so.
Any other questions by the audit committee members? Okay.
None from here.
Oh, go ahead.
None from here.
You may have said this and maybe I missed it, but I heard that there was a request or a suggestion that an extension be requested from DESI. Was that request made and was that request granted?
Well, we certainly notified DESI that the audit would not be completed. And basically what happens in these situations is that our state aid is withheld until we submit the audit.
So has that been done? The state aid was withheld?
Yes, it was withheld for January and February thus far. So we anticipate that, once we submit the audit, then we will catch up with those payments.
How much was that? Or I'm just an estimate.
Oh, it's, maybe 2.5 million.
Okay.
Is that affecting the operations of the school district now
It is not.
financially? Okay,
No.
thank you.
And can you shed a little light on the key staff folks that retired? Were those retirements anticipated? Ample notice given? Can you share some background on that?
Sure. I'd say that there was ample notice provided. The district does not have a great system for bringing on staff early enough to really learn roles. So oftentimes we find that someone retires and then we hire the replacement. But in, some of the situations, for example, we really had 3 individuals, as Renita mentioned, that were, 30 plus, had 30 plus years. So we were able to bring in someone in the Treasury Department to really start to learn that role. And he has been in place for, maybe several months to really try to learn that. But I think the key roles where we lost a lot were in our accountants. So there was one retiree that had 37 years and another one with quite a few number of years also. And we just have not had good success with finding replacements, as the market is just very tight right now for those resources. We've hired several people, and it just seems to be a revolving door where we hire people and they leave for better compensation elsewhere.
Mm. Okay, so there really isn't a way to kind of improve succession planning based on those factors. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think that this is really an eye opener, and I think there will be some changes that are made. But for now, I have brought in some Robert Half temporary staff to really help support the department and try to get caught up on a lot of the things that we need.
You know that you can hire somebody from Robert Half too.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Do you know that you can hire a professional through Robert Half also?
Yes, absolutely. And typically what we've done with Robert Half is bring people in to make sure that they are a good fit and do a temp to perm placement. So
Okay.
one of the challenges that we have is that understanding fund accounting is not necessarily something that we find often in accountants. So that's a kind of a rare resource. So, you know, we haven't been able to find that. So we bring in people and make sure that they're comfortable in the environment before we try to do a permanent placement.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, hearing none, I would like for the committee to go into a closed session with the audit teams, or the committee, I should say, to go into a closed session with the auditors. So under the provisions of Missouri Statute 610-021 subsection 17, I'd like to make a motion for the audit committee members to go into a closed session with the external auditors.
I'll second that.
Okay, so that would be Renita, Alicia, and the committee members, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Angie.
Thank you.
Is it still gonna be streamed? Or are we still streaming?
No, Mr. Moss, could you just give us that heads up when we're no longer recording and no longer streaming?
You're saying you had.
Yes, sir. We'll do that now.